Upon entering office, President Kibaki's National Rainbow Coalition administration found Kenya's economic growth at its lowest ever. Kenya's growth, hampered by poor infrastructure, a general lack of direction and political apathy, had slumped to less than 0.6%. The country was on its knees as far as economic and social development were concerned. Early in his presidency, President Kibaki also faced several heart-wrenching moments when several government ministers, members of parliament, died in air accidents. Perhaps the biggest blow came when he lost his deputy and friend, the Honorable Michael Kijana Wamalwa. The path to reform started in 2003 with the launch of the 5-year economic recovery strategy for wealth creation and employment.
We wanted to expand the democratic space and institutionalize good governance in this country.
The reforms touched virtually every aspect of public life.
And that is your economic recovery strategy for wealth and employment.
Led by President Kibaki, the National Rainbow Coalition government's economic recovery strategy produced the most sustained period of growth for all key economic sectors in the country's history.
When I joined the ministry way back in 2005, the first thing I was told was that Kibaki believes in planning.
Once the economic reform strategy reached a conclusion on how to move forward, several other strategies were put in place in order to allow the implementation of the lofty goals set by this conference. During this same period of rapid economic growth in 2005, work started on a strategy that would transform Kenya into a globally competitive, rapidly industrializing middle-income nation by 2030.
We started saying, after 5 years of the ERS, where do we go? So we started discussion on Vision 2030. And indeed, we also established the National Economic and Social Council, which really was a body that was consultative, advisory to the government.
This brought a very unique gathering together that had rarely had regular meetings before. Cabinet ministers, private sector leadership, academia, international experts in growth and national development.
The vision was agreed by the council that it should be what we are now calling the overarching vision 2030, that Kenya will be a globally competitive and prosperous country, offering a high quality of life to all citizens.
The first 5 years of that strategy worked reasonably well. In fact, in certain respects, especially economically, remarkably well. We moved from about 0.2%, very anemic growth, to 7.1% in 2007.
I believe the president has laid the foundation that will make achievement of Vision 2030 irreversible. The second thing is a framework in terms of a vision that articulates what is it that we need to do so as to achieve our dream. And that is what is called the Vision 2030 blueprint. And now Vision 2030, like sessional paper number 10 of 1965, is the blueprint that will govern the economy of this country until 2030.
One of the first issues President Kibaki addressed was access to free and compulsory primary education.
Hata mimi siku kwa shule, nilirudi shule, nilikuwa nimeshaaja shule, ndio nikarudi sasa shule, nikaanza kusoma kuanzia standard 4 mpaka standard 8.
I'm glad we had a government that was supporting education so fully. Don't forget that since independence, Kenyans had been very interested in education, so much so that even during the colonial times, some communities had established their own schools. The cost of education in Kenya had been identified as a great hindrance to access of many children. There was the issue of preference of boys. When parents had to make a choice, then invariably they chose boys to go to